Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha Narasimhamadem Sharanam Prapate Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanorenda Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsimhadev, 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 Jaya Narsimhadev. Jaya Prahlada Maharaj, Prahlada Maharaj, Prahlada Maharaj, Jaya Prahlada Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Narsimhadev Bhagwan ki, Prahlada Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to Shri Shri Radha Madhav Haridham. On behalf of our presiding deity, Shri Shri Radha Madhav Hari, we invite you today to our Sunday feast class. Yes, all the children can go to their respective classrooms. And if you can all move forward, there's a lot of space, so the latecomers can join comfortably in the back. So please move as far forward as you can. So happy Mother's Day to all. All the mothers.
Ladies, come forward. Thank you.
So I think a lot of families must be out celebrating Mother's Day, looks like. Or they'll be coming late. So we're going to be continuing our class from yesterday. It's going to be part 2 of Narasimha Dev's appearance day, and class is going to be given by His Holiness Romapad Swami. Maharaj is a disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, and he's been practicing Krishna consciousness for over 50 years. He's one of the initiating gurus in ISKCON, and he's known worldwide for his scholarship and nurturing families around the world in Krishna consciousness and developing, communities. Maharaj travels all over the world, including places like China and Singapore. He visits India, and he always usually has one yatra every year. And this coming yatra this year is going to be in Sri Lanka. So if anybody's interested, let us know. It's, I think, in September. So without taking much of your time, I'm going to hand the mic over to Maharaj. He has a very early class tomorrow morning as well. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Bhalabha Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vana Chadi Jamuna Tira Vana Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Madhava Kunjabi Adi Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari 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 Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vana Chadi Jamuna Tira Vana Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi. Jayo Vishipad Paramahamsa Pandavacharya Astatarasata Sisimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Gaur Premanandi. This we did yesterday. Yes, we did this yesterday. Okay. Yes, that's right. You recognize this. The Srila Bhagavan ki Jai. And as we heard yesterday, it's a detail, but the appearance of Lord Nrsingadev did not occur during our present Mano, but he appeared during the previous Mano, the Chakshusha Mano. And we can find out about, the best source to find out about Lord Nrsingadev is from Srimad Bhagavatam. The painting here, it's a very nice painting. It's a painting commissioned by the king of Orissa during the time that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living in Puri. The king's name was King Prataparudra. And the fellow that's lying down, paying prostrated obeisances before all the Vaishnavas, that's the king. The story goes, the king commissioned an artist to paint this painting, and the location is by Narendra Sarovar. We know that because you see the water in front of the king, that's in the just on the side of the Sarovar, there's this checker, black and white marble tile, Narendra Sarovar. And the persons in the painting, aside from the king, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's shaved-headed, right in the center, underneath the tree. And to his right is Lord Nityananda. And behind Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, with the long white hair, that's Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And then the other associates are also, in the original art, the Bengali names are listed below each person so that you know who's who. The person standing up, hanging some clothing look like, that's Haridas Thakur. So they're all hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. In addition to Kirtan, this was a regular activity, is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit. As those of you that may know something about Lord Chaitanya and his associates, Gadadhar was assigned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to stay at a remote place because it fit his personality and his nature, in a garden called the Tota, and in that garden area was a deity of Gopinath. So the deity was called Tota Gopinath. And Gopinath is very beautiful deity. There's some detail about the Gopinath deity. He used to be standing, but then he sat down. The deity sat down. So the deity is in a sitting position because Gadadhar Pandit couldn't reach up tall enough to put a garland around him. So the deity sat down to accommodate his devotee, Gadadhar Pandit. That was the loving dealing between the two. And it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disappearance was one day he went to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit, and while he was listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, he stood up, entered into the right knee of the deity, and he disappeared from this world. And there's a little mark on the right knee of the deity. He's in a sitting position, and you can see the little mark, the golden, like spot, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered into his body. But Gadadhar Pandit was very, in addition to worshipping Gopinath, in addition to his love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very, very expert in reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. So the devotees would gather, not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but devotees would gather daily to hear Srimad Bhagavatam for him. And I find it particularly interesting that when the king commissioned an artist to make a painting of him with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it wasn't in Kirtan, but it was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit. And of course, we were introduced to all of this by our founder Acharya, who had also a great fondness for Srimad Bhagavatam and writing, empowered personality to write transcendental literature with transcendental realization and give it to the world. And boy did he give it to the world, and promote through his followers the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, both by speaking it and by distributing books. A very prominent part of our book distribution effort. We'll hear a little story at the very end of this evening class about book distribution and Lord Nrsingadev. Stay tuned. So because this is the day after Nrsinga Chaturdasi, but as many of you know, here we observed Nrsinga Chaturdasi yesterday, but in the eastern part of the US and in India, it's today. So today is already tomorrow in India, but Nrsinga Chaturdasi. So we're honoring Nrsinga Chaturdasi twice. Why not? And famous and celebrated in the activities of the appearance of Chaitanya, appearance of Lord Nrsingadev is to protect Prahlada. So here's a very nice deity of Prahlada Maharaj, and here's something that Srila Prabhupada writes in the beginning part of the introduction to chapter 6 of this Canto 7. By accepting the lotus feet of Prahlada Maharaj, who is in the Parampara succession, one will be able to understand the mode of spiritual life. Isn't that nice? In accepting this mode of activity, there's no need for material qualifications. It's a big part of this pastime when he teaches to his classmates, and when he has his discussion with his father, and when he has his discussion with his school teachers, and he has his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. It's a theme. He speaks of his own disqualification, but the fact of the matter is, one doesn't need material qualification. No material qualification. It's consistent completely. Many of you know from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, there's a nice verse that Sutta Goswami speaks that says there's no, devotional service is not dependent upon, it can't be created by or checked by anything material. Say it again. Nothing material can create or generate devotional service. And once devotional service is active, nothing can stop it. Nothing material can stop it. It's transcendental. So there's no material cause, and nothing that can stop it. No material qualification is needed for devotional service. There's another nice verse in Sri Brahma Samhita. Some of you know the verse. It's on the screen, and I'll say the verse. You can say the verse with me if you like. Yat pada pallava yogam vedadhaya kumbha dvanve pranama samaye saganadi rajaha Vighan Vihantam Adam Asya Jagatrayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The verse is speaking of the Kumbha Dvandva, the two kumbhas, the protrusions on the head of Ganesh, because Ganesh has bumps on his head. Elephants have little protrusions. They're not horns, they're just the Dvanda Kumbha. And the verse is saying, here's the translation, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesh upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head, in order to obtain the power for his functions of destroying the obstacles on the path of progress in the three worlds. So many persons worship Ganesh. All karma kanda performers, it's a preliminary. Before they do their puja to worship this one, that one, the other one, they worship Ganesh, so that their sankalpa, or their intention, their purpose, will not be checked. Because Ganesh has a power to remove obstacles in the path of fruitive activities. And how does he get that power? He has on his head these little bumps. And just like any elephant, here's a nice painting of an elephant. There's the two bumps. No, there's an elephant that just took a bath, so he's doing what elephants do after a bath. He's throwing dust on his body, because that's what they do. I've seen it. It's like natural. They'd have to go to elephant school. They just take a bath, splash water all over the place, and then after they come up and dry, like dogs, they shake their body and all the water goes flying in all directions. The elephants don't do that. They take dust from the side of the place where they took their bath, the lake or the river or the whatever, and they throw dust all over. The dust all over, one can assume it's because when the water dries, it shrinks their skin and it's uncomfortable, so they throw some dust and makes it not uncomfortable. Now those two tumuli, it says that he receives the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, but according to the commentaries on Sri Brahma Samhita, specifically Jiva Goswami's commentary, it's Lord Nrsingadev. I'll say it again. It's Lord Nrsingadev who places his 2 feet on the tumuli of Ganesh, so that Ganesh can then remove obstacles on the path of fruitive activities for persons who want to advance in the path of fruitive activities. Lord Nrsingadev, is called Bhakta Vinasha. Bhakti Vijnana. Ganesh removes obstacles on the path of fruitive activities, and Lord Nrsingadev removes obstacles on the path of bhakti. Take your pick. He grants the power to destroy all obstacles on the path of devotional service. So Hiranyakashipu was an obstacle. And so he removed the obstacle. So that Prahlada could advance further on the path of bhakti. And surely that's what happened. Some of you may know, many of you were here yesterday, right? I said today's class is not going to be anything from yesterday. It's all different topics. There's so many nice topics. So here's one. Whoops. One of the celebrated commentators on Srimad Bhagavatam that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted as the Swami, the master, was Sridhar Swami. Some of you may know from Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was one scholar named Ballabhacharya, not the same Ballabhacharya from the Pushti Marg, but a different Balabhabata, different learned scholar, he had written a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was really enthusiastic to have Lord Chaitanya hear his very eloquent composition. So he was, nagging and appealing, and he went so far as to say that his commentary surpassed the commentary of Sridhar Swami. And Lord Chaitanya didn't like that. He said, one who does not become a follower of the Swami is like a prostitute. The Swami in that sense being the master, or the Swami, the one who one serves. One doesn't serve the master and considers oneself superior to the master, he's like a prostitute. The man understood that, don't be proud. That was the message. So he, Sridhar Swami, turns out, he was an ardent Nrsinga Bhakta. And so he wrote commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam from that position. And a pure Vaishnava, not a Krishna Bhakta, but Nrsinga Bhakta. And and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him because his bhakti was pure, as was Prahlad's. So here's taken from his commentary, the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then later the very first verse of Prayers to the Personified Vedas in Canto 10. Let me offer my obeisances unto Lord Nrsingadev, who is always enlightening Prahlad Maharaj within his heart, and who always kills the nescience that attacks the devotees. His mercy is distributed like moonshine, and his face is like that of a lion. Let me offer my obeisances unto him again and again. So, the words of an acharya, a super elevated acharya, who is a Nrsinga Bhakta, Sridhar Swami. Now, there was something that we heard yesterday, but I'm going to repeat it because it's very important. This is a description from Rupa Goswami's writings. I'm not going to go through the whole. I don't feel I need to go through who's who, because you're experienced devotees. That's my assumption. Are there any newer people here that would like an explanation? Who is Rupa Goswami? And I could just do a little background on who is Rupa Goswami. Okay, you all have some idea. What the most prominent member of Lord Chaitanya's associates, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he's on our altar. The 6 Goswamis are on every ISKCON altar. And he and his brother, Rupa and Sanatan, were most prominent. Rupa is most prominent between the two of them. So a very important person. And one of his books was a description of the avatars of Vishnu as they appear in this world. Nice topic. A whole book, like this thick, on that topic. BBT has published it, translated by Gopi Puranadana Prabhu. Very nice book. So from that book, he is describing the different categories of avatars. For example, here's a couple of examples. Narada Muni, he's in the category of an avatar. He's bearing the Lord's Bhakti Shakti. Narada Muni, right? The 4 Kumaras, they're Shaktivesh avatars, same category, but they're bearing the Lord's Jnana Shakti. Or Prithu Maharaj, bearing the Lord's ruling potency, his Palana Shakti, etc. So, Shaktivesh avatars. Lord Brahma, Shaktivesh avatar. He bears the Lord's creative potency, Srishti Shakti, etc. So that's a category. Then there's other categories, Leela avatars, celebrated. The Das Avatar song. Most of us know that song. Keshavadrita, Buddha Shrira, Keshavadrita, Nada Hari Rupa, describing Nada Hari, Lord Nrsingadev, etc. Das Avatar. So, the Leela avatars, Shaktivesh avatars, Guna avatars, the 3 avatars that are presiding over the modes, the gunas, the modes of nature. Goodness, passion, ignorance. So they're avatars that are presiding over those, etc. There's a number of categories of avatars. And here's a little message from Rupa Goswami's writing. One of the avatar categories is Paravasta. Para means transcendental. And so they're manifesting 6 opulences or 6 characteristics in such a full degree that they have their own category of avatar. And in these descriptions from Padma Purana, it says that these 3 pictured here, Krishna is in the center, and Rama and Nrsimha. Unlike other avatars, these 3 manifest in full these special opulences. We discussed this yesterday. So we're just repeating because it's important. And the message is in the scriptures, in Padma Purana, is of the 3, one is like a candle or a lamp from which the other lamps or candles are lit. So one is the original and the others are of equal power, but they're not the original. The original is Krishna. And Krishna manifests these other 2 forms of the Lord, avatar forms of the Lord. Lord Nrsingadev, here's some characteristics. This is the same book, Laghu Bhagavatamrita, a Vilas avatar. Nrsingadev, in addition to being a Leela avatar and a Parabhava avatar, he's also a Vilas avatar. Pretty good, huh? He appeared before the churning of the milk ocean. So the churning of the milk ocean, that's described in Canto 8. It's during the Chakshusha Manu, so therefore we know he appeared in the Chakshusha Manu, not in our present Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. He appeared before Lord Kurma. He displays abundance of power. That's one of the 6 opulences, or a Paravasta avatar. Gives joy to Prahlada, destroys ignorance of the devotee, we already mentioned. He destroys obstacles in bhakti. Effulgent like the autumn moon, that was already mentioned by Siddhar Swami. Effulgent like the autumn moon. Possessed the head of a lion, in whose mouth resides all eloquence, because he's an incarnation, so he speaks truth eloquently. In whose chest, not on whose chest, but in whose chest resides Lakshmi. Here's a nice expression. Listen carefully. When we see pictures of Mahavishnu, do we ever see Lakshmi at the lotus feet of Mahavishnu? The answer is no. She's within, or she's in the chest. Rama Devi is not, she's in the same category as Lakshmi, but she's within. And it's Rama Devi who understands Mahavishnu's desire to create, so she assists him from within, and she takes all the living, he's glancing, Mahavishnu is glancing at Pradhan, the sum total of the material energy, not yet differentiated, just like a cloud in the sky. He is glancing at that cloud, she understands his will. He doesn't say, "Hey, Rama, can you do some service?" She knows. She knows. So she takes all those living entities, two things. This is description from 3rd canto and 2nd canto Bhagavatam. She entrusts the sum total of all living entities that are presently at that time within the body of Mahavishnu, but in a state of deep slumber, still conscious, but like anesthetized consciousness, but still conscious. And all those living entities plus the time energy. She entrusts those two, all living entities and the time energy, to the glance of Mahavishnu. The glance of Mahavishnu has a separate name called Shambhu, because it's the glance of Mahavishnu that contacts material nature. He doesn't. And therefore, that's this nice example of milk in contact with a souring agent, like acid or lemon or something, and then it becomes curd, dahi. And that's the process of creation. So she is assisting him. She's in his chest, in whose heart resides knowledge. And this is commentary quoted by Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, quoting Sridhar Swami. And Sridhar Swami, he's an Nrsimha Bhakta, so he knows all about Prahlada and all about Lord Nrsimhadev. There's an Upanishad called the Shringatapani Upanishad that says where his abode is. Now, we had this discussion today. Someone was asking, where does he reside? It's one of his residences. He has his own planet in Vishnu Loka, maybe Nishriga Loka, has a nice name. But he also resides in Jana Loka. What's Jana Loka? What's Jana Loka? Some of you know something about cosmology. And it's simple. There's 7 upper, 7 lower, making 14 planetary systems in each universe. And in the upper category, the first 3 we're all familiar with. The earthly realm, Bhuloka. Above the earthly realm is Bhuvar Loka. Above the Bhuvar Loka is Swarga Loka. That's 3 out of the upper 7. Then the upper 7 are Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. That's 4. So 4 plus 3 makes 7. That's the 7 upper planetary systems. So Janaloka, it's not in Brahmaloka, it's below Brahmaloka. It's below Tapaloka, but it's next to below Tapaloka. And that's one of the residing places, according to the Shringatapani Upanishad. Now, why he goes there, it doesn't say, but that's one of his residences. Now, there's a little artwork of Lord Nrsimhadev appearing from a pillar. And when he appeared from a pillar, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, his hair shook the clouds. He was really big. His glaring eyes stole the effulgence of the luminaries in the sky. His glaring was so intense. You know, it's just like when there's a lot of sunlight, you can't see the stars in the sky because it's too bright. But when the sun goes out, then you can see the stars in the sky. So the luminaries in the sky you couldn't see because his glaring eyes were so intense, like the sun. His breathing agitated the seas and the oceans. He was angry. His roaring caused elephants to cry in fear. Airplanes, they had airplanes, not the metal ones like here, but subtle ones. Airplanes were thrown into outer space and upper planetary system. earth appeared to slip from its position by the pressure of his lotus feet. He was big and heavy and roaring. Hills and mountains sprang up by his intolerable force. Shoo. This is all from Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Again, Laghu Bhagavatamrita is a book by the compilation of scriptural references gathered by Rupa Goswami describing incarnations. So this is his little section, part of his little section, describing one of the Leela avatars, or Lord Nrsingadev. And then, of course, he dealt with Hiranyakashipu in a way we heard yesterday. We all know the story anyways. He took Hiranyakashipu and dragged him to a place that was on the patio, or not inside, not outside. And it was at dusk. Somebody in Europe asked me a question today. In India, the time for the setting of the sun, when the sun just goes below vision on the horizon, the sunset, it's at around 6 or 7 o'clock. Here, I noticed in Phoenix yesterday it was 7:17. However, this devotee is from Europe, and the sun doesn't set in Europe on Nrsinga Chaturdasi until like 8:30, 8:45. So the question was, when should we break the fast? I said, sunset. Don't worry about it, sunset. Because that's when he appears. And all the other things that were promised by Lord Brahma, he upheld. Though ferocious, he is as cool as the moon for his devotees. That is, Prahlada offered prayers. The beginning of the prayers, chapter 9, canto 7, the beginning of his prayers, he says, I'm not afraid of this roaring. I'm not afraid of your blood-soaked mane. I'm not afraid of your pinching teeth and your sharp nails. I'm not afraid of the wedge-like ears as you're ready to pounce on Hiranyakashipu. I'm not afraid of those things, because those things are meant for the non-devotee. And for the devotee, you're very soothing and cooling and very calm. So I'm not afraid of those fierce things. Here's a reference. We did see this yesterday from Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. The Lord, who is friendly, not only to his devotees, then sat down on the ground and put Prahlada on his lap, gently rocking back and forth. He patted Prahlada with his lotus hand and embraced him repeatedly, as a mother embraces her child. Pretty nice. He's dealing one way with Lord Nrsingadev, with Hiranyakashipu, in a very, very different way, completely calm, like a mother patting her child, embracing the child on her lap. Further, we saw this yesterday. Lord Nrsingadev licked Prahlada's limbs as an ordinary lioness grooms her cub. Went from roaring to licking the limbs of Prahlada. So there's a nice painting of licking the limbs of Prahlada, or another nice painting of licking the limbs of Prahlada. Pretty far out. Most mothers don't do like that, do they? And we heard this one yesterday also. This is the Brihat Sahasranam Stotra. Several appearances, and different appearances during different days of Brahma, and during different days of Brahma there's 14 Manus, and so, but it's consistently the Chakshusha Manu. Celestial, he defeated all the celestial mothers. We heard this yesterday. We don't know what I don't know what that means. He ripped apart Hiranyakashipu, that we know. Yet another, he assumed the form of an ordinary cat. Don't know anything about it. Today, we spent some time looking at different murtis in temples where the forms of Lord Nrsingadev are worshipped, and there are many, 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 many. And looks like a museum piece, but they commonly call this particular feature of Lord Nrsingadev as Yoga Nrsinga. Because sometimes yogis will do that. They sit in a certain yoga posture. They put this strap around their waist and around their knees, so they can hold this posture very easily. But he doesn't need a rope to hold his knees. But they have a deity form like this. And there are many mantras, and ones that, along with the Nrsinga mantra that we sing when we have kirtan, there's this very celebrated Nrsinga Kavacha. Kavacha means shield. So it's a mantra that's meant for protection. And many of you know it. And if you don't know it, you can learn it. Now, I asked somebody to make, to do a cut and paste. And so you see that little mark down there. There's a recording embedded in this slide. And it's going to sing the verse, recite the verse 5 times. So when you hear the voices singing the verse 5 times, then you can sing along 5 times. You can keep going, but we just have 5.
सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्योर्मृत्युं नमाम्यहं स्वाहा उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्योर्मृत्युं नमाम्यहं स्वाहा विष्णु ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्योर्मृत्युं नमाम्यहं स्वाहा उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णु ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्योर्मृत्युं नमाम्यहं स्वाहा
That's it. They keep going for 108, but I gave you a little sample. And it's a celebrated, many of you know this mantra, Stringa Kavacha mantra. There are many translations, here's one. May my head be protected by the moon-colored one, who is the greatest among humans. My obeisances unto the ferocious and powerful, the great Vishnu, the fiery one, Jwalantam, Vishvatomukam, whose faces are on all sides. The fearful one, Nrsinga, who causes the death, even of death personified, or one who can overcome death. And another way of rendering this into simple fashion, oh, fiery and valiant Mahavishnu, your flame and heat spread wide. Oh, Nrsingadev, your face is omnipresent. You're also the Yama of death, and I surrender unto you. So commonly, There's many, many things that are said about and written about this particular mantra, but it's a place to take shelter for courage, confidence, faith, and fearlessness. So I'm going to end with a little story. It's always nice to end with a little story. The little story is a book distribution story, because we remember from the very beginning the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and how much importance Prabhupada gave to that, and the whole of ISKCON has that as a very central part of our activity, receiving and giving Srimad Bhagavatam. So here is the story. The letters are small, so you may not be able to read it. The report goes, there was one time a book distribution group, and the book distribution group were confronted by some Christian ministers. And they were the fanatic, harsh types, not so Christian-like. And they were insulting the book distributors, calling them this and that and the other thing. And then they became so irritated, they hired some skinheads. Skinheads is a name for a group of like gangster kids. They shave their head and they carry weapons in their hand. And they hired them to go attack the devotees. So the kids got some payment. Dressed in black shirts with swastikas, the skinheads came in front of the devotees brandishing stakes, clubs, and chains. Not knowing what to do, the book distributors froze. And one devotee that knew what was going on, he stepped in front of them and started insulting the skinheads. Fascists, thugs, and other names. The skinheads turned their attention completely to this one person who was speaking this way, and they left the book distributors. And the particular devotee that spoke this way, he happened to be a fast runner. So he started running. It was a plan. The skinheads came at him in a rage, but he was a fast runner. So he ran and ran and ran until he found himself in a blind alley. You went, no end to that alley. So the skinheads thought they had him. They got their weapons up, and the devotee sat down in a lotus position at the end of the alley and started chanting very loudly this Ugra Shringa Mahavishnu prayer. And twice, after completing the prayers twice, he opened his eyes and the skinheads were gone. And he didn't know what happened. He understood somehow Lord Nrsingadev saved him. There's more to the story. You see there's more space in the page. So 2 years later, one of those skinhead members came to the temple, and they saw the devotees, the book distributors, and this one fellow that was sitting in this lotus position praying to Lord Nrsingadev. And the skinhead still had a skinhead. He asked the devotees, "Do any of you remember the skinheads who threatened you?" And they said, "Yes, we remember." And then he said, the skinhead said, "One of you enraged us so much, we went after him. Then we trapped him in a blind alley, but when we ran up to tear him apart, a huge shaggy monster with fangs and long nails suddenly appeared in front of us. We all fled in fear." I had a change of heart after that. And I left the skinheads, and now I'm looking for what I want to do with my life. This is a modern story. It's not, storybook. It's not. But Lord Nrsingadev is ready, willing, and able. And, it depends on where we take shelter. Now, it's a pretty unique situation. I wouldn't recommend trying it out. But Lord Nrsingadev will protect. And so that's our little presentation for our Sunday program on the day after Nrsimha Chaturdasi, hearing a little bit about some details of Lord Nrsingadev's appearance and his transcendental power and the name and the mantras that are calling to him, just like our Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There's some devotees that make that sound vibration instead of the Nrsingadev's name. And the Hare Krishna mantra is powerful, equally powerful. So if you like this one, that's fine. You like that one, that's fine. Take shelter of the personality of Godhead. That's the message of Prahlada. I'm going to tell a little story, and a story on top of the story. The story is George Harrison. And you all know who is George Harrison. You may not know who the skinheads are, but you know who George Harrison is. George Harrison was a wealthy person, a married man. He had a son. And one time, this is reported in, he would testify, the following is testimony in court. Because one evening, a burglar broke into his house. And George Harrison was upstairs in the bedroom, and he heard the burglar making noise downstairs. So he went to the railing upstairs, looked over the railing, and saw the burglar. So what did he do? He wanted to protect his wife. So he took shelter of Krishna. He put his hands like this, and at the top of his lungs, he started shouting the Hare Krishna mantra, and then went running down the stairs. And when the burglar thought he was a madman, he just ran from the house, dropped all the stuff he was trying to steal, and they caught the guy later. And so he had to appear in court to testify against the burglar. So what was your story? And he told the story that I told you. So when there's danger and difficulty, one thing we cannot count on is our own strength. We can do something, but you can count on the strength of the ultimately strong person, the Supreme Person. And this Paravasta category, one of the 6 characteristics of such an avatar is strength, virya. So take shelter of the personality of Godhead. And you'll have strength more than your own strength. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So that's the end of our discussion. Look, it's 1 hour later. So I think what I'm going to do, normally it's nice to have questions and answers, but I'm going to ask your permission to excuse myself, because one of the things that you heard, the announcements, I visit the Far East. One of the places I visit is China. And I haven't been to China in a while, but every Monday there's a little Zoom class. And China time, the class begins at 7:30 p.m. their time. And 7:30 p.m. their time is 4:30 a.m. our time. So I'm going to offer my pranams to all of you. Thank you very much for coming and celebrating Nrsimha's appearance twice. And I'm going to head for the door, and please allow me to do that and forgive my brevity. Srila Prabhupada ki, Nrsimha Bhagavan ki, Prahlada Maharaj ki, Gaura Premanandi.
So, would you like to leave first before I make start?
You do what you need to do.
Sure.
I'm just going to disappear.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so, first of all, a big round of applause for Maharaj again, and a big thank you. And a big thank you for coming and spending this week. Maharaj is still here tomorrow, but what a wonderful, spiritually uplifting experience this has been. We have all heard Darsimha Katha several times, but there is nothing like hearing from a pure devotee. And Maharaj not only told us the story, he brought in so many unique pastimes and so many lessons. So I'm sure you all have benefited from it, and you're going to meditate on it and get more realizations. So thank you, Maharaj, again. We are very blessed to have you. Any newcomers here today? First time in the temple? Any newcomers? Okay. All right, I think everybody is right. Mataji, Hare Krishna. Where are you from?
Delhi.
Delhi. So you are visiting?
No, I live here. My mom and aunties live.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for coming us. Hare Krishna. Okay. Who's there? Hare Krishna, where are you from? Tucson Temple? Oh, welcome. Thank you so much for coming here. Hare Krishna. So we'll start by thanking our sponsor for today. We have Vijay Akrishna Kola, who's sponsoring for Annadan Seva. Sorry? Also, she's also? Yeah, it's her relative. Okay. So, relative of Lakshmi Sri Devi Mataji. Is Vijay Prabhu here? But anyway, let's give him a big round of applause for sponsoring for the Annadan Seva. Second, garland चाहिए पड़ेगी, माला. नहीं ये yeah, okay. Second, as many of you know, we have newly initiated devotees in our congregation. So we would like to give a big round of applause and also welcome them with garlands. So we have one second initiation and 4 first initiations. So Anand Chaitanya Prabhu, come forward. Please come. I still remember Anand Chaitanya Prabhu was in ASU and how he used to come. In one of the Janmashtami, actually I told him, him and he had another friend, I think he moved to Utah, I forgot his name. I told both of them, your future of Krishna consciousness. And I'm proud of my prediction. Okay. Yes. Second, Fanny Mataji, who is now going to be called Preeti Gopika Devidasi. Vivo! All right. We have our very own Mohit Prabhu, who will be called now Mohan Anand Das. Please come forward. Doesn't he look great without the beard? I almost didn't recognize you in the picture, you know. Seeing you without the beard. Okay. Advaita Jivan Prabhu, he's not here. Advaita Prabhu, he's going to be called Advaita Jivan Prabhu. And Rosie Mataji, she's also not here, right? Radha Viharini Mataji. So when you see them next time, please congratulate them. Haribol! Yeah. So it's the mercy of Vaishnavas and Gurus who come here, such as Romapad Maharaj and many other Gurus who come and bless our congregation that it's flourishing. We are seeing new devotees. The existing devotees are getting more maturity, and we are so proud of all of them. And I hope they inspire others to join as well, this list. next up, let's talk about events. So we have a home program, the last program for Romapad Maharaj tomorrow at Shyama Hari Prabhu's home. So please RSVP for those of you who want to go. It's in Scottsdale. Prabhu lives in Scottsdale. So those of you who want to attend, please RSVP to Shyama Hari Prabhu tomorrow evening. It's 6:30, right? Who? Yeah. ये है क्या इधर? ये है? Okay. Is he here? No? Okay. Prabhu just reminded me that the sponsor for today is actually Krishiv Shirin for Annadanam. He is not here yet, right? So when he comes, we will honor him. Krishiv Shirin? Not here? Okay. Moving on, next Friday we have the Vaishnav Sadachar class by His Grace Shri Govinda Prabhu. So please join it. You know, it's the number 6 in the series. So the class will start at 7 o'clock, 7 to 8, but we have the Aarti at 6:30. So please join us for Vaishnava Sadachar class next Friday by our very own Shri Govind Prabhu. Then we have the registration open for summer camp for children. It's starting on June 2nd.